If we're being real about it, y'all know that this time of the year can be really tough. A lot of you feel like you've given everything you've got, and now you're just staring down the hallway, wondering if you got another year in you. For some of you, you're feeling burnout. Others are feeling like the system is just so broken that it leaves all the odds feeling like they're stacked against you. While others are wondering, is this still what I have been made to do? At some point on some day, I feel like all teachers have these ideas, these thoughts are running through their head. So chances are if you clicked on this video, you're thinking about any number of these ideas, or maybe all of them. But I'd like to offer, before you make that big decision, a handful of ideas that might just transform your year next year by helping you maybe reframe your experience or reignite your passion or tap back into why it is that you got into this job to begin with. And everything we're going to talk about here is immediately practical. So without wasting your time, let's get into it. So first I want to talk about this concept of designing the day that you want to live. So it's not about just being a good teacher or having a good classroom. I want to design a life that I love. And so when I think about what that means in the classroom, it's like, what time do I want to show up to school? Not just what time do I need to be there. For me, I found that like getting there even earlier, which might sound like even more of an ask, getting there earlier helped me to feel like I was in control. I also would design a classroom that looked like a classroom I would want to walk into each day. And so one of the ways that I did that was before I left each day, turning around at my door, taking a look at my classroom and asking myself the simple question of, do I want to walk into this tomorrow? It was then thinking about the vibe that I wanted in my classroom. So if you teach stinky teenagers like I do, like ninth graders are not really sure if deodorant is mandatory or not yet. So I would put some plugins in my room or something that changed the smell. I would turn down the lights. I'd have the right kind of music on. So I'm creating a vibe that I want to be in. This ultimately affects student learning as well, but it also affects me first. And the through line here is, what do I want to show up to? And when I can show up into a space that I immediately feel welcomed in, that doesn't make me feel filled with dread, that makes me want to teach better. It helps me to be more relaxed. It helps me to be more of myself. Jim Rohn said, either you run your day or your day runs you. So ask yourself, how could you redesign your day, your classroom, your space, your experience each day to make it a little bit better each day, to make it something that you might be excited to show up for? Number two, sounds similar, different idea, take control of your space. What does that mean? It means that what I'm doing, and I don't want to oversimplify this. I don't want to make this sound like it's easy. And so I'm encouraging you to listen to this whole point because it's going to sound a little bit accusatory on the front end. But what I'm doing in my classroom space is I know that I can't control the school, but I have far more control over my classroom environment. And I refuse to wait for anyone to fix what is broken in my classroom. And so some ways that I can do that, right? Let me break that down. Is that one, that physical space I talked about in the beginning, that's going to affect my mental space, which is going to make my classroom better. But also, it is being mindful of all the negativity that's happening in my school. I don't want to absorb all that brokenness. I want to push back. I want to innovate, and I want to lead in my classroom. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, one of the ways you can do that is I'm a big advocate of greeting students at the door, but I can greet students in my room just as well. If your hallway is madness, step inside the door and greet kids. Because we know most of your colleagues aren't doing hallway duty anyway, which is why it looks like a madhouse out there all the time. So after you create that physical space, it's going inside. And if necessary, I know it sounds so counterintuitive and there's not a professional development out there that's going to tell you this, but it's staying inside that cocoon. Number three, ask yourself, who are you doing this with? Because ultimately, you don't go as far as your dream, you go as far as your team. And a good community doesn't just listen. They lift you up when you need it. So this is ultimately about finding your people. Now look, those people might be in your hallway, they might be on a different floor, they might be on YouTube or in a Facebook group. They might be in the comment section of this video right here. The point that I'm making is that they're out there, and when we can find that connection, it changes everything, because we find folks that don't just see the same things that are wrong that we do, but ultimately, hopefully, what we're finding is folks that are looking for the way to make it right. Proverbs 27:17 says that as iron sharpens iron, so one person sharpens another. Or as I've said many times, and to quote Jim Rohn again, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. This doesn't mean you have to cut off, because sometimes we can't cut off the people that are bringing that negativity into our lives, but you can severely limit their access to you. One of the best ways to do this is think of who you interact with on a given day and then label them, whether they are a withdrawal or a deposit into your life. If they're constantly just withdrawing, you need to push that away and be around the folks that are depositing into your soul, into your spirit, into your heart every day. Number 4 is chase joy on purpose. Patch Adams once said that one of the most revolutionary things that a human being can do is to be happy in public. A lot of us as teachers, because of the vibe of your school and the other teachers and the students, you lost your weird somewhere along the way. Don't do that. Don't hide your passion. Don't hide your special giftedness. Some student needs you to be that way, and God gave you that gift. Who are you to push it aside? So when you're getting ready for school, think about, what armor are you putting on? Are you just wearing clothes that cover you or clothes that empower you? Think of your outfit as something that is putting on armor each day. Get your nails done, get your hair done.
Fly gal, get your nails done, get a pedicure, get your hair did.
Maybe buy a new outfit, maybe dress in out of something that's insane looking, but that makes you feel good, that makes you feel funny, that makes you feel like you want to step out in public today. Change the music in your car on the way to school. Change your music in your classroom when you show up every day. Teach a lesson with Hot Wheels or Legos or something else, but dare to be happy in public. Like attracts like. Your kids will feel it, the other staff will feel it, but mostly you will feel it. Number 4, here's the question for you. Is it teaching you want to quit, or is it your school that's no good? Because if we get down to it, we understand that culture matters, relationships matter, leadership matters. And if you don't have strong leadership, if you don't have a good school culture, it can make any teaching activity, it can make the best teacher want to run for the hills and quit and go get a job doing just about anything else other than this. I've worked for leaders that have both poured gasoline on my fire and those that have hit it with a bucket of water. And I can tell you from experience that having strong leadership, having folks that have your back, having folks that don't just tell you that your classroom management is your issue, that if you send a kid out, you're sending your dignity out of the classroom, that if a parent's yelling at you in the hallway, they're not going to do anything about it, or they're going to accuse you and ask you what you did because they're going to back the parent before they back you. Worked for those folks, but I've also worked for the folks that are going to say yes more than they say no to your craziest ideas. They're going to come in your classroom not to just critique you, but to see what all the fuss is about and what's going on here today, because it sounds awesome. That are going to make sure that you have the things you need, that are going to make sure that you can be in that fertile type of environment that you can actually grow into the teacher you've been called to be. So ask yourself, before you walk away from the job, is there a place that I can thrive? Because as Foreigner said, I want to know what love is. I want you to show me. You want your school to not just be a withdrawal, just like those other relationships. You want it to be something that deposits something into you that you can work together to help children grow into their fullest extension of who they were meant to be. And the last thing is so cliche, but I cannot mean it any more than I'm going to say it right here. Stop making self-care a negotiable. It should be a non-negotiable. If the car ain't got gas, ain't nobody going anywhere. That's what my friend Anissa's dad used to tell us. Rest is not a reward for hard work. It is a requirement to be able to do hard work. You need sleep, you need space, you need joy outside of school to fill your cup back up. And when you begin to build these rhythms of rest, of quiet, of joy, of exercise, of creativity into your week, you show up better. And teaching stops feeling like it's eating you alive from the inside. That was a really gross idea. That was really gross. But the problem is, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Anyway, the author Anne Lamott says, almost everything will work again if you unplug it for a few minutes, including you. So before you make that big life decision, pause and reflect on a few of these things. Just think about it. Because any one of these shifts might be the difference between just surviving the rest of this career and thriving through the rest of this career. And if you're still watching this, let that be a clue that this might not be over for you yet. And if you need a bit more encouragement, here's a few videos that YouTube thinks that are a good idea for you to watch. Don't forget to like and subscribe and all that stuff, because it just helps this video get to more people. And if you know someone that feels like they're going to quit, send this to them, because it might just help them as well. That's it, gang. Peace.